Hello Hylians! If you're looking to farm Dinrall parts, there seems to be not a great way to farm them. I asked my community ways that they would farm Dinrall parts, I tested the most popular methods, and I'll let you know which is the best way to farm them. Whoa! But first, let's talk about exactly what Dinrall parts do. Check the links in the description for the timestamps if you already know what they do. If you don't know me, I'm Nico and I love collecting and doing everything possible in Zelda games. If you need help finding or doing anything in Zelda games, I hope you consider subscribing or at least checking out the channel. For some general things about dragon parts, each dragon parts drop 4 different parts. Fangs if you hit them in the mouth, horns if you hit them in the horn, claws if you hit them in the claw, or scales if you hit them anywhere in the body or face. And usually the moment you hit them, they will fly back into the sky. Also keep in mind that you can only do this once. And to do it again, you'd have to do it after the dragon respawns. For cooking, no matter which dragon, each part adds a specific amount of time to a dish. Each scale cooked adds 1 minute and 30 seconds to a dish. Each claw cooked adds 3 minutes and 30 seconds to a dish. Each fang adds 10 minutes and 30 seconds. And cooking horns makes a dish last 30 minutes. That's the highest a buff can go for, making horns one of the most useful material. But the main reason you'd need Dinrall parts would be to upgrade some gear. You need 2 horns for the Champion's Tunic's 4th upgrade, 1 horn for the Barbarian Helm's 4th upgrade. For the Fierce Deity Mask, 1 scale is needed for the 1st upgrade, 1 claw is needed for the 2nd, 1 fang is needed for the 3rd, and 1 horn is needed for the 4th. And for the Trousers of the Wild, it's the same like the Fierce Deity Mask, but instead you'll need 2 of each part. So that's a total of 3 scales, 3 fangs, 3 claws, and 6 horns. You also need the scale to open the shrine at the Spring of Power. Before I explain the best locations, there's a few things that's important that you should know. When a dragon part flies off a dragon, you can sit by a fire, and when Link unsits, the dragon part will still be there. This is important because you would want to leave that part where it is and shoot the dragon for another part and continue doing this until you're ready to leave and pick up all the parts all at once. But it's important to know that you can sit by the fire as soon as the part flies off the dragon. It will continue to fly when you unsit. If you sit by the fire before the dragon part flies off, the dragon part will for whatever reason be unpickupable. A good method to farm Dinrall would be to have Flame Guard up in case you get burnt by Dinrall. Also, to make a campfire with 4 wood, this way you can use the updraft from as far away as needed depending on your bow. And also to obviously sit until the next day. And Dinrall seems to spawn from the sky in this location, then flies all the way down the valley. And if you sit by a fire anywhere along its path, Dinrall will spawn close by, not always at the beginning of its path. So when I was recommended locations, I wanted to pick a spot where the dragon parts will fall consistently in the same location. This way I can pick up all the parts at once. For the best spots to farm Dinrall, I won't go into too much detail, but the way I found out which is the best spot was to go to the locations recommended to me, and I timed how long it would take until Dinrall came close enough to create an updraft. The reason I didn't time when Dinrall came close enough to shoot at, it's because it depends on what kind of bow you have, and there's no real way to determine how far Dinrall is. I should also mention that Dinrall doesn't always spawn. I don't know how to make sure it always does. Sometimes I just save, close the game, reload, and cross my fingers. Or sometimes I just go to a new location. Or sometimes I just give up and try another time. So the places I tested were by the foot race, by this DLC shrine, on the Tabantha Bridge, all the way to the north by the Elden Great Skeleton, down a little farther by the Lionel, and a little farther down to the west, and at the bottom of Hero Tower. I timed all of them, and the most consistent ones were the DLC Shrine, the Tabantha Bridge, and the Leviathan Bones. The one by the DLC Shrine was okay, which averaged about 1 minute and 29 seconds, but you can't always see if Dinrall will spawn. So the Tabantha Bridge and the Leviathan Bones seem to be the best, but they have pros and cons. Sitting at the Leviathan Bones is actually the best spot, especially if you have a bow that shoots far. Once you think Dinrall is close enough, just shoot and the parts will drop in the same spots. And you can easily collect them all when you're done. The problem with this spot is that it's a little annoying to get to and Dinrall doesn't consistently spawn here. I've gone here many times and there was no Dinrall. The Depantha Bridge I've done many times, I keep sitting and Dinrall will almost always spawn. There have been a good handful of times where Dinrall won't spawn, but sitting again a few times usually works. If not, I just leave. The bad part about this location is when the parts land, they will land in various locations and it's possible to lose dragon parts you've shot. By the way, the clip that I showed you in the beginning is something that randomly happened and I don't think you can make this happen again. But if you know how, let us know. Farash is the easiest dragon to farm, and I also found a consistent way to farm Nadra. If you're looking to farm Nadra, you can check out this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped. Thumbs up if it did, or if you liked it. Consider subscribing or at least check out the channel. See you next time!